Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Let's chant one round of japa with Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya, Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine, Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine, Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्रीमद् भगवत गीता एज इट इज की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for all session. We are reciting Bhagavad Gita Shloka, chapter 10, text 41. Does anyone need to go first? So we'll go in order. Achintade Prabhu. Aditya Lata Mataji.
Mataji, I'll go at last, please.
Sure. Aditi Lata Mataji and Arunita are there? Not ready. Inba Inya, Jai Ganesh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Yat yat vibhuti matsatvam Srimad Bhagavatam eva va tad eva vagachatvam namo tejomsha sambhavam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Inba.
यद्यद्विभूति मत्सत्वं श्रीमद् ऊर्जितमेव वा तत्तद् एवावगच्छत्वं मम तेजोंस संभवम्. Translation. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor.
Ini and Jayashree are not available with this.
Okay, no problem. Isha.
यद्यद्विभूति मत्सत्वं श्रीमद् ऊर्जितमेव वा तत्तद् एवावगच्छत्वं मम तेजोंस संभवम्. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor.
Krishna Ashish.
यद्यद् विभूति मत्सत्वं श्रीमदूर्जितमेव वा तत्तदेवावगच्छत्वं मम तेजोंश संभवम्. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor.
Madhava.
यद्विभूति मत्सत्वं श्रीमद् ऊर्जितमेव वा तत्तदेवावगच्छत्वं मम तेजोंस संभवम्. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor.
Rasapriya.
यद्यद्विभूति मत्सत्वं श्रीमद् ऊर्जितमेव वा तत्तद् एवावगच्छत्वं मम तेजोंस संभवम्. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor.
Sonia Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Yadyad vibhuti matsatvam Srimad Urjitam eva va tattad devavagachatvam mama tejom shashambhavam. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Usha Mataji is not here. Narsimha Leela Chaitanya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam to Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Yad vibhuti matsatvam Srimad Urjitam eva va tattad evavagachatvam mama tejomsha sambhavam. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam Salvation Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
यद्यद् विभूति मत्सत्वं श्रीमदूर्जितमेव वा तत्तद् एवावगच्छत्वं मम तेजोंश संभवम्. Translation. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. Thank you, Mataji. Kids are not here, Mataji.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Next, Pragnya and Saujanya Mataji. Actually, yeah, Pragnya and Saujanya Mataji. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Dandavat Pranam Sargo Srila Prabhupada, all goes to the assembled devotees.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Go ahead.
Vibhuti Matsatvam Srimad Urjitam eva va tattad evavagachatvam mama tejom sashambhavam. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from the spark of my splendor.
Pragnya.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
यद्यत् विभूतिमत्सत्त्वं श्रीमदर्जितम् एव च तत्तद्
eva va va
एव गच्छत्वं मम देहो Misasambhavam. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Usha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the assembled devotees.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Yat yat vibhuti matsattvam srimad uchitam eva va tat tat eva vagachatvam mama tejomsa sambhavam. Translation. Know that all opulent, beautiful and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Medha.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yatyat vibhutimatsatvam Srimad Urjitam eva va tat eva vagachatvam mama tejomsha sambhavam. Translation. Note that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor.
Okay, thank you. Aditi Lata Mataji, Arunita, Achintade Prabhu.
Mataji, I can read.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the assembled devotees.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhuji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please repeat. Yad yad vibhuti matsattvam
Yat yat vibhuti mat sattvam
Srimad Urjitam eva va
Srimad Urjitam eva va
Tattad evava gachatvam
tat tat eva gavacham
evava gachatvam
tat tat eva va gachattam
mama tejomsha sambhavam.
mama tejosma sambhavam. Translation. Know that all opulent, beautiful and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. So,
Others
I'll
are
also recite. Okay, no problem. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 41. Yad yad vibhuti matsatvam Srimad Urjitam eva va Tattad evava gachatvam mama tejomsha sambhavam. Know that all opulent, beautiful and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. Okay, anyone else? Alright, so we'll begin Srimad Bhagavatam. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 9, the dynasty of Amshuman, and we read about Saudasa, one of the descendants of Amshuman, yes. Saudasa, who was cursed by Vashishta Muni to become a man-eater Rakshasa. And when he received that curse, he got a black spot on his foot, and therefore he got the name Kalmashapada. And although he was still the king, but now his tendency was to eat men. So once he captured one Brahmana when the Brahmana was with his wife. They were trying to get a child. So then when he sees the Brahmana, the wife of the Brahmana began to plead with this Kalmashapada to release her husband. And she was giving various reasons why the king should not kill the Brahmana. First of all, the king was a king, right? He was a fearless warrior, fighter. And how could he kill a Brahmana? That to eat him? He's not a Rakshasa, he's a king. How could he do that? Then she gave another reason, and he was a descendant of Ikshvaku, not just any king. He knew the religious principles very well. Next reason was that this human form of life is so rare. You get the highest benefit, you can get the highest benefit in this human form of life. And her husband was a Brahmana who was well trained, very learned, and who wanted to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose desire was to serve the Supreme Lord. And apart from all this, she wanted a son from her husband, and she was not yet impregnated. And this king, who was actually now a man-eater, had taken the Brahmana away. That means she wouldn't have a son. So that was also not right. He was depriving her. Then she said, the king is a representative of the Supreme Lord. He's called Naradeva. Naradeva. Naradeva means one who is a representative of the Supreme Lord, or the Supreme Lord in the form of a human being, like that. So, how can you kill a Brahmana? You know, killing a Brahmana is just like killing a baby, the embryo in the womb, or killing a cow. This is Brahminical culture. The king is supposed to maintain, first of all, king means he's a Rajarshi. Who is Naradeva? Not any king is Naradeva. One who is a Rajarshi, who is a king, and he's carrying out the order of the Supreme Lord. He's guiding the people on that path, according to the instructions of the Supreme Lord. Such a king is called a Rajarshi and a Naradeva. And what is the first principle of ruling? Brahminical culture has to be maintained in the society. And what is Brahminical culture? Giving protection to the cows, to the children, to women, to old men, to the Brahmins. This is the duty of the king. To maintain Brahminical culture, he should give protection to all these. What if the king himself is killing a Brahmana? What type of example is he going to set? So she even challenged him. How dare you do this? Being a king, a Rajarshi, coming in the dynasty of Ikshvaku Maharaj, how dare you kill a Brahmana? This is the greatest sinful act. Like that. So, yeah. So we finished text 31. You are well known and worshipped in learned circles, so you are a leader. How dare you kill this Brahmana who is a saintly, sinless person, well versed in Vedic knowledge? Killing him would be like destroying the embryo within the womb or killing a cow. So this is Brahminical culture. So the opposite of Brahminical culture is people don't think twice about killing the embryo in the womb or slaughtering the cows or killing Brahmanas. They don't think twice. This is a total degradation of Brahminical culture. Right? That's modern society. Text 32. I think it is. Rasapriya, did you read yesterday? Okay, so Sonia Mataji, it's your turn.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. यद्ययं क्रियते भक्ष्यस् तर्हि मां खाद पूर्वतः न जीविष्ये विना येन क्षणं च मृतकं यथा.
Translation: Without my husband, I cannot live for a moment. If you want to eat my husband, it would be better to eat me first. For without my husband, I am as good as dead body.
Yes, Hare Krishna Mataji. This is actually very important. If you remember in Mahabharata, when the Pandavas were residing in Ekachakra, so after the Lakshagraha, they were hiding for some time. So Vyasdev instructed the Pandavas to reside in Ekachakra, and they should continue to live there, disguising themselves as Brahmanas, hiding their identities. And Vyasdev would let them know about the next course of action. He would inform them. Until they heard anything from Vyasdev, they should just continue to stay there. So they happened to stay in this Brahmana's house, one Brahmana who liked to serve Brahmanas who were visiting that village. So he would give them accommodation, free accommodation to stay in this house. So once there was a situation where, because of the Rakshasa, Bakasur, each family they would get a turn, right? I think they would get a turn after 1 year or something, after a long time. So that day, the next day or that night was this Brahmana's turn. Somebody from the family must go, along with a cartload of cooked food, all types of cooked food, the cart being pulled by 2 oxen, so that Rakshasa would eat the 2 oxen, he would eat the cart load of food, and he would also eat the driver. So one of the family members, generally the head of the family, the man would go. So then there was a dialogue between, each one. So they had a daughter, they had a small boy, small son, mother was there, father was there. So the father said, I will go. And he was crying, you take care of the children, like that. And then the wife said, if you get killed, people will exploit me. What is the use of this sacrifice? Let me go, let that Rakshasa eat me. You can get married again and family can run normally. But if you get killed, people will exploit me because I'm a woman, right? They will pollute me, they will exploit me. I won't have anyone to protect me if you go and die. So your sacrifice will be of no, use. The whole family is going to fall apart. And then she has a grown-up daughter also. So she was concerned. So these are all the problems. If there is no male, head of the family, this will be the problem. So here also we see uh, this this Brahmana's wife, the Brahmana whom Kalmashapada had seized. She's saying, if you killed my husband, I wouldn't be able to live even for one moment. I wouldn't be able to live. It's better that you kill me first. You want to eat somebody, eat me first before eating my husband. Right? So that's the point. Let's read Srila Prabhupada's purport. So without my husband, I cannot live for a moment. If you want to eat my husband, it would be better to eat me first. For without my husband, I'm as good as a dead body. Purport. So next is Usha Mataji, right? Yes. Usha Mataji and Meda.
Hare
Purport.
Krishna Mata. Hare Krishna
Hare
Mata. In the Vedic culture, there is a system known as sati, or sahamarana, in which a woman dies with her husband. According to this system, if the husband dies, the wife will voluntarily die by falling in the blazing funeral pyre of her husband. Here, in this verse, the feelings inherent in this culture are expressed by the wife of the Brahmana. A woman without a husband is like a dead body. Therefore, according to Vedic culture, a girl must be married. This is the responsibility of her father. A girl may be given in charity, and a husband may have more than one wife, but a girl must be married. This is Vedic culture. A woman is supposed to be always dependent. In her childhood, she is dependent on her father, in youth on her husband, and in old age on her elderly sons. According to Manu Samhita, she is never independent. Independence for a woman means miserable life. In this age, so many girls are unmarried and falsely imagining themselves free, but their life is miserable. Here is an instance in which a woman felt that without her husband, she was nothing but a dead body.
Yes. So Srila Prabhupada is pointing out the Vedic culture, the inherent principle in the Vedic culture, that a woman always needs to be protected. She needs to be protected. She is never independent, able to protect herself. No. I heard this in one Mataji was giving a class, and it was really very interesting. You know, we say women are equal to men. Now they're also doing whatever men are able to do. Just imagine if women were to take sannyas and if they were to go into the forest, right? Just like you have brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas. For going to Gurukul, there's competition. Why women cannot go to Gurukul also like men? You may say, study. The whole idea is protection. It's for protection. Women will get exploited by men. Men can have more than one wife, they don't lose their chastity. But women, the most valuable thing that a woman has is her chastity, and that will be polluted, and that will be a disaster. That will be a disaster. As long as a woman is protected, she's chaste, then the values of the society are protected, because she is pure. The children that she bears, they will be of very good character. But if she is polluted, if she is exploited, adulterated, then the children that come, they will be Varna Sankara. Varna Sankara means bad population. They will not be a good addition to the society. All types of crimes will happen in society. All community activities will be stopped, because such Varna Sankara population will not do any noble activities. This is said in Bhagavad Gita, first chapter, by Arjun. And it is, they're all valid. The thing is, Arjun is speaking on the strength of Dharma Shastra. This is Dharma Shastra. So that is Vedic culture. Women always. So this feeling of dependence on husband, attachment to husband, is inherent in a woman in the Vedic culture. So much so that when the husband dies, then she prefers to go with the husband than live here by herself, especially when she does not have any children, especially. Because when she has children, then she has to take care of them. Kunti Maharani also wanted to do sati, but then she had Pandavas. So Madri requested, no, if you commit sati, I will not be able to take care of the children impartially. I am not so noble like you. I would be partial to my sons. I would not do justice to your sons. But you are so noble that even though they are not your own sons, I have full confidence you'll take care of them. You won't see any difference between your own children and my children. Therefore, you should stay back to raise the children. So, as a sacrifice, she stayed back. Otherwise, she wanted to die also. She wanted to jump into the fire. So, this sati, as it is, portrayed as a taboo, actually it was done voluntarily by the women out of uh, their complete attachment and dependence to their husband. And any woman who commits such sati, she will get the same destination as her husband. She'll go with her husband wherever he goes. So if he goes to heavens, she'll follow with her husband to heavens. Like that. That is the principle. So here also this Brahmani is saying, if you kill my husband, I will not be able to live even for a single moment after that. So it's better that you eat me first. So Srila Prabhupada is taking the opportunity to bring out this point, how women should be protected. As girls, the father should protect. It's the responsibility of the father to protect the girls and also to get the girl married. All girls should be married and all men should try to remain brahmacharis. But the thing is, not all men will be brahmacharis. So therefore, and besides, a man can marry more than one wife, it is said, provided he is actually able to maintain them properly. Not that just marry them and then you're not able to take it. That's not the principle. So of course, in Kali Yuga, people don't have that capacity. they can hardly take care of one wife and children. So yeah, but the principle is there. If he is capable, if he is able to, then it's not wrong. Again, it's not against scripture. Men can have more than one wife. There are examples. All Vasudeva had wives, and everyone, even the Pandavas, had more than one wife. So, but they were. The thing is, anything which is said in the Shastra, you cannot question it, why it is like. Veda means Veda. Like cow dung is the stool of an animal, still it is pure. You have to accept it. Why? Because this is Veda. And then you do research to see how it is like that, and you'll find out, yes, it's true. Cow dung is actually antiseptic. You'll find that out. Like that, when it is said in the Vedas that all women need to be married, and we accept it, yes. Right? And then it becomes the father's responsibility. The father, as soon as the girl reaches a puberty, he feels that burden. My God, I need to get her married now, right? Kanyadanam. The father has to do this. That's his responsibility. He feels like, I won't be able to die peacefully if I don't fulfill this responsibility. After I give my daughter in the hands of one responsible boy, then okay, now I have done my duty. Now she is his responsibility. He will take care of her. And similarly, the husband also, he needs to give a son, right? So that in his absence, after he leaves, then there's someone to take care of the wife, like that. This is the Vedic system. So, Saujanya Mataji, you're raising your hand.
Mataji, so when it was Sati Sagamanam, when wife also chose to die with the husband, the thing, like after the husband is died, she also wants to be. But then what about the kids? I don't know what was the concept in those days. If wife also decides, then kids.
There would be more than one wife usually. Generally, we see this principle, it is observed in the Kshatriyas. When there is a war and the husband is killed in the battle, what happens is, Srila Prabhupada also says this, even in modern day war, after war, the soldiers are allowed to just go and plunder the enemy's camp, and their wives, especially the women, they are free to go and rape the women and exploit them like that. So Kshatriya ladies, generally we see this in Kshatriya ladies, they would commit sati along with the husband, so that they wouldn't be touched by anyone else, they wouldn't be exploited by anyone else. Even in the time of the Rajput kings, it is seen, when the Muslims had attacked, so, and they tried to exploit also. So that's why they exploited also. So that's why they committed sati. So what would happen to the kids? So usually there is some caretaker, someone else would take care, maybe the grandparents, and also the kings would have more than one wife. Maybe it's like in the case of Pandu Maharaj, he had two wives. So one of them would stay back to take care of the children, like that. But of course, if there is nobody to take care, then the wife will be prohibited from doing sati. Like we saw King Bahuka, when he died, his wife wanted to commit sati. But Aurva Muni said, no, you cannot do that because you are pregnant and there's a baby coming, you have to take care of the child. So then she had to desist, right? She had to desist from that sankalpa, like, going to commit sati. She had to stop for the sake of the children. So yeah, if they have like small children, then that is, of course, they have to consider that. Definitely they have to consider that. Unless there is someone, they put the children under someone's care, somebody trustworthy who's going to raise them properly, then they commit sati like that.
Okay, Mataji, it was more of situational, based on the situation and circumstance. But the concept was because women didn't want to get exploited, so that's why they chose to.
One reason, and also they were very much attached to their husband. They couldn't even imagine living in the absence of their husband. Yeah. Now Kali Yuga is progressing. Back then, servants, they would be very loyal to their masters. So they would take care of the prince like they would take care of the king. So even if the queen and the king were not there, there were many instances, right? Like to protect I think it's Jhansi Lakshmi Bai's child, I think. To protect the child of the king, they would sacrifice their own child, like exchange the children. When the enemy is coming, they would, like once lady, she put her own baby. The king's child was sleeping. The enemy came to kill the king's child, and she exchanged the baby. She put her own son there so that she can protect the prince because he would be the future king. To save the prince, she sacrificed her own child, and the enemy came and killed that baby, the child, thinking it was the prince. So people were very, very faithful and loyal. So when you have someone trustworthy like that, then they are in good hands. They would still be raised like that. Let's continue now. Mataji, Vindhyavali Mataji, you raised your hand.
No, I just want to say, if the wife, most of the times, whatever that responsibilities she has, husband cannot take that much responsibility when they are young. And then when they are teenagers also, in Kali Yuga, lot of atrocities are happening. Father is not taking care of their daughters.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's what the things are happening. That is, Kali Yuga is becoming so much polluted. Even wives also. I cannot say it, all of them like before. That's why that is Satyuga and Dwapara Yuga. This is Kali Yuga. So a lot of things are happening. So that is very sad to hear and see. Nobody bothers about why a Veda and other things in spiritual things.
That's the whole problem, actually.
That's the
Kali
problem.
Yuga, it's happening like this because there's no proper guidance, no proper education, no proper values. So then, you accept wrong leaders, right? Andha yathandai upagiyamana. So blind leading the blind, all will go and fall in the ditch. So we accept someone as a leader who has no understanding of what the Vedas say, right? And then that's the situation.
That's why they say Yatha Raja Tadha Praja.
Yes.
That's so. But what I'm saying is, even how many fathers are taking care of young children? They think of their own other kind of life, and they want to marry somebody. They want to enjoy that. And if a teenage daughter is there, oh no, it's not safe nowadays. That's so sad to say that, like mother, whatever mother takes care of the children, nobody will take care. Nobody will take care. That motherly affection, that is very rare with any other woman. Yes, of course, those other previous days in the previous yugas might have been there, but not now.
Not now.
It's not safe.
Yes.
So I felt like that. So just that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's continue. So, a girl may be given in charity and a husband may have more than one wife, but a girl must be married. So, this is the responsibility of the father, the parents. Yeah. Yeah. The whole system has to be in place. Varnashram system and the duties of father, mother, wife, king, everyone's duties, Brahmana. When everyone carries out their dharma, then there can be Ramarajya, even in Kali Yuga. But when we don't follow that dharma, then everything is chaos. It's not just one thing. The whole system has to come into place. Like that. Text 33. Evam karuna bhashinya vilapantya anathavat vyagraha pashum ivakhadat sauda sahashapa mohitaha. So, Saujanya Mataji, did you read now? Or
No,
Medha
Mataji.
read, I think. Medha read. Usha
Mataji, but I'm driving, Mataji. I'm sorry, I cannot read.
You can't read. Okay. Priyanka Haripriya Mataji, you can read. Translation.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
I just joined and I got my turn.
Actually, I
Okay.
kind of skipped. I forgot, but I'll go after you. Nilamari Mataji and Narsimha. I keep.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Being condemned by the curse of Vashishta, King Sudasa devoured the Brahmana exactly as the tiger eats its prey. Even though the Brahmana's wife spoke so pitiably, Sudasa was unmoved by her lamentation.
Oh no. I was hoping that after all the reasons that the Brahmani gave to this Saudasa, his heart would change. But in spite of all her points, he ate that Brahmana anyway. Although the wife was pleading, King Kalmashapada or Saudasa, he just ate that Brahmana. Why he ate? Because of the curse of Vashishta Muni, right? That pushing was there in him to eat men. So even though the Brahmana's wife spoke so pitiably, she was begging, still he was unmoved by her lamentation. And he ate the Brahmana anyway. How? Just as a tiger eats its prey.
God.
Purport. Okay, so now Narsimha Leela Chaitanya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Spurti.
This is an example of a dynasty.
Destiny.
King Sodasa was condemned by the curse of Vashishta, and therefore, even though he was well qualified, he could not restrain himself from becoming a tiger-like Rakshasa. For this was his destiny.
Tallabhyate dukkavad anyatah sukham. Bhagavatam 1.5.18. As
one is put into distress by destiny, destiny can also put one in a happy
situation.
Destiny is extremely strong, but one can change destiny if one comes to platform of Krishna consciousness. Karmani
Nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajam. Brahma Samhita 5.54. Thank you. So, Saudasa or Kalmashapada just pounced on the Brahmana and ate him like a tiger would eat its prey. Srila Prabhupada is saying this is the example of destiny. What is the destiny? That he should eat men. He should act like a Rakshasa. He should become a tiger like Rakshasa. This was his destiny. Tallabhyate dukkavad anyatah sukham means by destiny you can get dukkha or you can get sukha. Both by destiny you'll get. That means nobody can change this destiny. Whatever is there in your destiny will happen. Your quota of sukha will come and your quota of dukkha also will come. Distress and happiness both will come. You cannot change. When can it be changed? It can be changed when you surrender to Krishna. Then it can be changed. Because this happiness and distress that we experience is the result of our karma. Karma is performed under the influence of the modes of material nature. Bhakti is transcendental to the modes. So when you take shelter of bhakti, all karmic reactions in different stages, they're all removed. So the only way that your lines of destiny can change is when you clap and sing in kirtan. Then your destiny, your lines can change. Otherwise, what you're supposed to get, either happiness or distress, it's going to happen. That cannot be changed. That's why it's called Brahmarata, right? This is destiny written by Lord Brahma, Talarata, right? So that will happen. But it can change when you take to bhakti. That's the point. So here in this case, King Saudasa, he was supposed to become a Rakshasa. That was his destiny. So he couldn't, in spite of the plea by this Brahmana's wife, he was not moved because it was his destiny to act like a Rakshasa. Destiny is extremely strong. But if one comes to the platform of Krishna consciousness, this destiny also can be changed. Next. Brahmani vikshya didhishum पुरुषादेन भक्षितं शोचन्त्यात्मानमुर्वीशम् अशपत् कुपिता सती. So Nilambari, no, Narsimha Chaitanya Prabhu, others are there, Spurti?
Yes, Mataji. Translation. When the chaste wife saw that her husband, who was about to destroy the semen, had been eaten by the man-eater, she was overwhelmed with grief and lamentation. Thus she angrily cursed the king.
So this is another curse. Already he was cursed by his guru, Vashishta Muni, for serving human flesh to the guru. Although it was not his fault, but he was cursed by Vashishta Muni. That's why he became a Brahma Rakshasa, or he became a Rakshasa, a man-eater Rakshasa. And now as a Rakshasa, he ate the Brahmana when the Brahmana was engaged in the act of impregnating his wife, and she was not yet impregnated. So, and she was begging this king, please don't kill my husband. In spite of that, he killed. So she was completely overwhelmed with grief in separation from her husband. I mean, it's unimaginable. The Rakshasa eating her husband in front of her eyes. So she cursed this king who was a man-eater Rakshasa. What was the curse? Angrily, she cursed the king. Yasman me bhakshitah papa kamartayah patistvaya tavapi mrityur adhanad akrita pragya darshitaha. So, Mataji, Prabhuji.
Translation. O foolish, sinful person, because you have eaten my husband when I was sexually inclined and desiring to have the seed of a child, I shall also see you die when you attempt to discharge semen in you. In other words, whenever you attempt to sexually unite with your wife, you shall die.
Yes. This is why he didn't have any sons. Why are we reading this whole thing? We want to know about the descendants of Vaivasvata Manu, then Ikshvaku Maharaj, then coming down in that line, descendants from Mandata, descendants from Harishchandra, from Rohita, then Sagara, Amshuman, then coming down, we came up to Sudasa and Sudasa's son Saudasa. But Saudasa had no children. Why he had no children? That's why we are reading this whole story, history. Saudasa had no children. He was sonless. First of all, he was cursed by his guru to become a Rakshasa. As a Rakshasa, he ate a Brahmana, and Brahmana's wife cursed him. That's very similar to Pandu Maharaj, right? That when you try to unite with your wife, that will be the time when you die. You will leave your body if you try to enjoy with your wife. That was the curse. So then, obviously, he couldn't have a son. Aditi Lata Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji.
Yes, Mata.
These things actually, how mildly can I put it? Actually, take faith from everything, because a person who is from the beginning is not at fault, and he is cursed wrongly, and who gives curse is fine, and then he's suffering again and again, and because we know that animals are not creating any karma because of their propensity, because of their nature. So when he has become animalistic, he shouldn't be getting all these reactions, or if you say that, oh, it's because of the reaction or whatever, he's getting the next curse and all. So none of them is his fault, but he is being crucified again and again and again and again and again. And there is no result, no negative reaction to the other part. At least in the black magic, we know that whoever is doing black magic, the other person gets the impact later on in a very forceful manner, and that person suffers. So you won't see any black magic people are actually opulent or happy or anything, because the negative reaction is always with them. Whereas here, when we see the devotees and all, they're cursing this way, and the other person who is innocent and suffering, I totally do not understand. I totally lose faith in everything. Believe me, Mataji, I don't know how to accept this.
Okay, so 2 points here. You said that he's innocent. There was no fault of his for which he's suffering. That's 1 point. The second point is the person who cursed him for no reason, he is fine, he has no problem, and this person who didn't do anything and he's suffering, right? These are 2 points. So about the other person, you're saying he's enjoying life. No, he's not. He's not. When a person has conscience, he cannot enjoy after he creates, he because of his mistake. If another's life is spoiled, any person who has conscience cannot live in peace. He was not enjoying. That's why it is said, as soon as Vashishta Muni realized that it was a mistake, he performed severe austerities for doing such a great blunder. For 12 years, he performed austerities. So it is not true that after cursing, he's just going about with his life enjoying. It's not true. Now, the second thing, now you said he is not at fault, but Vashishta Muni also did not know. It was not an intentional curse. It's not that he knew that he is faultless and still he cursed him. It's not like that. Then what should we understand here? There is a higher power guiding or dictating things here. Based on what? Now you can get a question. Based on what? Why did Vashishta Muni, who is a Trikalagya, how did he commit this mistake? You can get this question. How could? That question was raised already. How could he make that mistake? Right? That means as soon as we say mistake, That means we are still under the grip of the modes of material nature. Prakriti is controlling. As soon as we say there are mistakes. Now, on what basis is Prakriti controlling different living entities? Same principle. It's based on karma. I am only able to see from this point to this point, right? From the birth of King Saudasa up to this point, I am able to see his life, what he has done, and I am concluding that he is sinless. Now, what he did in his previous life, you can't see, I can't see. One thing with karma is nothing happens as injustice. There will be a cause for everything. That is why Srila Prabhupada says that don't be angry with the instruments of your karma. Somebody is doing something to me for no reason, it's not my fault, and I'm suffering. This is injustice because I'm only able to see up to this point. I can't see what is on the other side. This is where we need to have faith. What is that faith? That when Shastra says that anything that is happening to you, nothing is happening without any reason, we have faith. We have faith, we accept it. Otherwise, always, every time it stops at this point. Why do bad things happen to good people? Good people we are seeing only in this life. How much are we seeing? Then we are questioning God's creation. Injustices are happening means he made some mistake in his creation. That's again a blunder. That's a blunder. Questioning Shastra, questioning the Lord's creation, right? Losing faith. So, yes, about Saudasa, what he did in his previous life, I don't know. But there must be somewhere in some other Purana, the information will be given. Nothing is happening without a reason. But in this life, yes, it appears like he didn't do any mistake, but nothing happens without any reason, and there is no injustice. It's always, you get back. There's a reaction. That is karma. Every karma will have a karmic reaction. You do good karma, you'll get good reaction. Bad karma, bad reaction. That much faith we must have. What do you say, Aditi Latamati?
Mataji, so for these 2 points, Vashishta Muni is doing tapasya for austerity for 12 years, but he is suffering forever. And still, if I consider that also is fine. But Vashishta Muni, because he is a Muni, he has so much power. Since he did this mistake, he should have instantly, nullified the curse. Even if he cannot do it fully, there are always instances we see that they, make a subway where it can be nullified somewhere. Like, for example, when Narad Muni, of course, Narad Muni is Narad Muni, but still, when Nalakuvera and Manikriva's case, when he cursed them to become trees and they were apologetic, then he said that, okay, when Krishna will come, then you will, get deliverance. So there should be a way, I mean, when they see that it is his mistake, at least at that time he should have nullified this, because he's a yogi. He should have that power also, because he has the power of curse, right?
Well, it depends on the power of whether a yogi or a bhakta. It's not like all yogis will have the same powers. Even in devotees also, there are different degrees of power. Some curses, they may be able to, usually when you utter a curse, rarely ever you see that they actually take it back. They can divert it somewhere else, but it's not that they'll just cancel it. It doesn't happen like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. At least he could have diverted it or made it mild. Many curses we see here in Bhagavatam that it has been diverted, it has been diluted. and for the fault of the person. I mean, here Vashishta Muni, he himself is at fault. He could have made it, softer, or, okay, only for a few years, only for this, like that, something. And the Brahmana woman, Brahmani. So how is she having so much power that her curse is also going to affect? But this.
So that tells you when a woman is a chaste wife, she gets power. Like Gandhari got power by being a chaste wife. So much so that she could make Duryodhan's body into like a diamond, hard like a diamond. So yeah, the Brahmana's wife, how she has the power? Because she was a chaste lady, faithful to her husband.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying, Mataji, the karma, and it was previous life karma or something. But when we see the incidents, I mean, we don't see, like how this is happening, because, and this person is not cursing, not counter cursing. His wife told him not to curse, curse back.
All I will tell you is try to look at the situation through the eyes of the sadhu instead of trying to look at it through your mind. Why? Because our mind is still defective. We have this, what do you say? We have the 4 defects: Brahma, Pramada, Karana Patava, and Vipralipsa. So don't simply go by your mind and your logic. Try to see things through Shastra Chakshu, or through the eyes of those who are liberated. So here Sukadev Goswami is a liberated soul. He is a pure devotee of the Lord. He is speaking Bhagavatam. Let's look at a statement that Sukadev Goswami made, and then you form your opinion about the king through the vision of Sukadev Goswami. Okay? So what is Sukadev Goswami saying? I'll show you. At the beginning, giving introduction of Saudasa, it is said, see here. Because of his own misdeed, it is said. Now, on what basis is it a misdeed? We don't know yet. But because of his own misdeed, Mitrasaha was sonless and was cursed by Vashishta to become a man-eater. So he was cursed by Vashishta to become a man-eater because of his own misdeed. What is that misdeed? Is it just that he served meat? Well, he didn't do it. So whatever else he may have done, we are not sure yet. So otherwise, Sukadev Goswami could have said, in an unfair way, Mitrasaha was cursed by Vashishta. He became a victim of that curse. Poor Mitrasaha, he became sonless. He could have put it like that. Then the reader will get the impression that, improperly he was cursed by Vashishta Muni. But here, what is Sukadev Goswami saying? Because of his own misdeed. You see? So we have to look at it through the eyes of a pure devotee. Why? Because their senses are not defective. When they make a judgment, it is not influenced by illusion, mistakes, or imperfect senses, or with a cheating tendency. That's what I would say. But if we simply go by our logic, we won't be able to come to any conclusion. This is said in the scriptures also. By logic, you will never be able to come to any conclusion. You will not be able to get any logic, any knowledge through logic. Logic is useful as long as it is based on the scripture. If your logic is based on scripture, then it may be useful. But if it is not based on scripture, tarko apratishtanam. Matlab means tarka. Tarka means logic. Logic has no pratishtha. Pratishtha means no importance, no greatness. Independent logic on its own has no greatness, it has no value. But when that logic is based on Shastra. That means you're using logic to support the statements of Shastra. To drive the point of Shastra, you are using logic. That logic is good. But if your logic is going against the statements of Shastra or against the statements of pure devotees, then such logic has no value. This is also said in the Shastra itself. Who is saying this? Vyasdev is saying this. Vyasdev himself is saying. One second, let me take Usha Mataji. I think Mataji wants to say something. Usha Mataji, you're raising your hand.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. I correct me if I'm wrong, Mataji, but I just wanted to say one point here. I read somewhere that if someone does say a wrong thing, like a bad thing or wrong thing against the dharma or culture, it is not compensated by a good work that the same person does. The bad has its own effect, and if you do a good work or a good thing, you have your own you have a result for it too. So the whole way like the karma works is it, either you do bad or good, it has its own result and you have to face it. So in this situation we are only seeing one side of the this king. We do not know what he did. And even the Muni who gave the curse, he is so powerful and talented that he knew everything, but he gave the curse. It was not in his hand, it was because of his karma too. Same, that's what I was thinking, that that's the reason, like no matter what you already you certain things that you do in your life, it's not controlled by you. It happens because of like the activities that you have done in past, and it's not you do not have a control on it. You have to face it, because this is not something that just happened or something. Like it is like it's like a web, Mataji. That's what I felt like karma. It's like a web. You only seeing one part in this life little bit, but you don't know what you did before and what is this effect from. Because karma
Yes.
can come today, it can come tomorrow, it can come in your next life. But it is going to come, but we don't have a memory of it.
Yes. Yes, Mataji, correct.
Thank you,
Krishna
Mataji.
says also, thank you so much. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 4th chapter, this karma, it's very complex. To understand the intricacies of karma is very, very difficult. Krishna is saying this. So how can we understand, right? What karma gives what result and from where? But yes, one thing we can understand is, Srila Prabhupada said, you simply take to bhakti. Then you can rise above. You can become free from the reactions of your karma. Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. I will deliver you from all your sinful reactions. Ma shuchaha, don't worry. This type of assurance no one will give. Nobody can give. Nobody has the power to give this type of assurance. Only the Supreme Lord can give this type of assurance. That you surrender to me and I will free you from all your karmic reactions. So that's what we have to hold on to, the solution. Instead of figuring out why this is happening, where is this coming from, let me do that research. It's not going to help. It's not going to help. But another thing, we should have faith that everything is justified. Nothing is happening without a reason. So yes, Mataji, what you said is correct, Usha Mataji. Aditi Lata Mataji, is that okay? Or you want to discuss anything more? Maybe you need to digest it.
Okay, Mataji.
Okay, Arunitaji, okay. So it's 5:30. So maybe we should stop here. Let me see where we were. 5:35. I mean 9:35. So now, okay, she's going to curse him. Did we read this already? Yeah, we read this one. O foolish, sinful person, because you have eaten my husband when I was sexually inclined and desiring to have the seed of a child, I shall also see you die when you attempt to discharge semen in your wife. Right? I will see you die when you try to do the same thing. In other words, whenever you attempt to sexually unite with your wife, you shall die. So he got this curse. So we'll continue tomorrow, and tomorrow Nilambari Radha Mataji will begin reading.
No, Mataji, I have to read.
Oh, you didn't read. Oh,
Yes.
Prabhuji didn't read. Okay. You just read, Prabhuji, so that it's easy to remember. You read now. Evam mitrasaham shaptva patiloka parayana tad astini samidhegnau prasya bhartur gatim gata.
Translation. Thus, the wife of the Brahmana cursed King Saudasa, known as Mitrasha, the being inclined to go with her husband. She set fire to her husband's bones, fell into the fire herself, and went with him to the same destination.
Hare Krishna. So she cursed Saudasa that whenever he would try to unite with his wife, he would die. After cursing, she committed sati. So she did the final rites for her husband. She set fire to his body, and then she jumped into that fire herself. So she went to the same destination as her husband. So maybe Nilambari Radha Mataji can also read. Vishapo dvadashabdante maithunaya samudyataha vigyapya brahmani shapam mahishyasa nivaritaha.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
After 12 years, when King Saudasa was released from the curse by Vashishta, he wanted he wanted to have sexual intercourse with his wife. But the queen reminded him about the curse by the Brahmani, and thus he was checked from sexual intercourse. Thank you,
Okay.
Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So, Aditi Lata Mataji, there's a little bit more information, continuation to that. So, the curse was only for 12 years. It was not eternal. Turning to a man-eater Rakshasa was only for 12 years. And as long as this king was suffering being a Rakshasa, Vashishta Muni was performing austerity. He was not enjoying. So, he was being fair from his part. So when the curse was over after 12 years, that means now he was not a man-eater Rakshasa anymore. Okay? So then he thought, oh, the curse is lifted, now I can have a child. But when he was a Rakshasa, he had offended this Brahmani also by killing her husband. So his wife, Madayanti, Saudasa's wife, reminded him, no, we still cannot have a child, because if you try to procreate, you will die as a result of the curse from the Brahmani. Okay? So Priyanka Mataji read already. One second, let me see how much more is there. At least this episode, if we read 38. Yeah, let's just finish this. There's 2 more verses. Okay, Saujanya Mataji. Ata urdhvam satatyaja stri sukham karmana prajaha vasishtastad anugyato madayantyam prajam adhat. Saujanya Mataji. Saujanya Mataji is there? No, Mataji is not there. Okay. And so Pragnya is also not there. So Achintadev Prabhu, you are able to read?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, go ahead, Prabhuji. Translation.
After being thus instructed, the king gave up the future happiness of sexual intercourse and by destiny remained sonless. Later, with the king's permission, the great saint Vashishta begot a child in the womb of Mother Kanti. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, thank you. So yes, because the king was not able to have a son, and he needed a son to an heir to rule after him. So with the king's permission, Vashishta Muni begot a child in the king's wife's womb. Again, this is also allowed according to scripture. They wouldn't do anything which is against the scripture. Like Vyasdev begot a child for Vichitravirya, right? In the womb of his wives, Ambika and Ambalika. And Dhritarashtra and Pandu were born. Similarly, when Pandu was cursed that he could not unite with his wives, and he also, he couldn't go to higher regions because he had this debt to his ancestors. He had to give a son to continue the lineage. So then he requested all the sages in the forest, because this is allowed. Can you please impregnate my wives so that I can have a son? That means you do it on my behalf and the sons will still be my sons. Like that. It's allowed. But the sages, they could understand that this Pandu Maharaj is going to have powerful sons, the Pandavas, who are sons from the demigods. They could see it. They said, there's no need. There's no need for you to ask the sages, because you are going to have powerful sons directly from the demigods. Otherwise, if that were not the case, right? If Pandu was not going to have any children, they would have done it. So here Vashishta Muni did it for King Saudasa. So from every angle we see he was not being, irresponsible, or, for those 12 years when the king was a man-eater Rakshasa, Vashishta Muni himself underwent severe austerity. And also then when the king, because of, eating that Brahmana, he got cursed, and as a result he couldn't have a son. Then Vashishta Muni begot a child in the womb of Madayanti. Like that. Next. Sa vai saptasamagarbham abhibhrannavyajayata jagnesh manodaram tasya soshmakastena kathyate. Arunita or Aditi Lata Mataji.
Mataji, they left for school and office. Can they read tomorrow?
Yes, I just wanted to finish this section of, and then next we'll start another section. So just this one verse someone will have to read. Okay, I'll read it. So they'll read tomorrow.
Yeah, you can read, I was about to say.
Madayanti bore the child within the womb for 7 years. She was pregnant for 7 years. When Vashishta Muni impregnated her, she was pregnant for 7 years without giving birth. Therefore, Vashishta struck her abdomen with a stone, and then the child was born. Consequently, the child was known as Ashmaka, the child born of a stone, because the child refused to come out. 7 years had passed and still the child was not coming out. So Vashishta Muni struck the abdomen of Madayanti with a stone so that the child would take birth, and the child did come out, took birth. And because he took birth, because of being hit by a stone, the child is called Ashmaka. Ashmaka is the son of Saudasana. So we are reading about the descendants. Okay, then we'll continue. Ashmaka's son.
Like the Sukhdev Goswami, 13 years. After 13
Also,
years.
correct. Like that. 16 years, Sukadeva Goswami. When he was born, he was directly 16 years old. Okay, so we will stop here. Yeah, it's already over time and I know everyone is going to schools and work. So maybe I should stop here, right? Or do you want me to read Bhagavad Gita? Let's stop here. Nobody's saying anything.
I
Tell me
can
that
hear. Mataji, while driving, I can hear. So if you
you
want
can
to
hear. So, okay, then let's
I'm
just
okay.
read. Okay, good. Everyone's okay. Then we'll just read. All right, let me bookmark this. It's bookmarked. Let's just read Bhagavad Gita and Lilamrita a little bit. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, introduction, continuation. There are many examples given of how we are to utilize those things which are set aside for us by the Lord. Right? Isha Vasamidam Sarvam. Yeah. We were reading that the Lord is all perfect. There's no possibility of His becoming subjected to the laws of material nature. Related to again what we were reading and discussing just now. He cannot make any mistakes. Even in His creation, there cannot be any mistakes. Right? There cannot be, because He is perfect. His creation is also perfect. Purnam, complete. So then no one should claim, and he is the owner of everything. He was there even before the creation. He is the father of even the grandfather, Prapitama. So therefore everyone should understand who is the real proprietor and only accept those things which are set aside as his quota. That's where we ended yesterday. There are many examples given of how we are to utilize those things which are set aside for us by the Lord. This is also explained in Bhagavad Gita. In the beginning, Arjun decided that he should not fight in the battle of Kurukshetra. This was his own decision, right? His own decision. With his mind, with his calculation, he came up, right? That no, I shouldn't fight for this reason and that reason. Prabhupada is saying this was his own decision. Arjun told the Lord that it was not possible for him to enjoy the kingdom after killing his own kinsmen, right? Who will I show my victory and my success to? When I share it with others, when I show it to my enemies, and when they feel, then I will enjoy. That's one thing. Or those who love me, when I show them how successful I am, they'll feel proud of me, they'll feel happy. If there's nobody to show, what enjoyment will I get? His decision was based on the body because he was thinking that the body was himself and that his bodily relations or expansions were his brothers, nephews, brothers-in-law, grandfathers, and so on. Therefore, he wanted to satisfy his bodily demands. Bhagavad Gita was spoken by the Lord just to change this view. And at the end, Arjun decides to fight under the directions of the Lord when he says, Karishye vachanam tava. I shall act according to your word. So for us also, we have to come to this point, right? From wherever we are now, we have, many questions, many doubts, but our endeavor should be, actually it is also said that we have to tolerate sometimes, some questions that we get. Questions means questions that are challenging scriptural statements. How this is possible? It's not being explained properly. It's not convincing enough for me. There will be some statements like that in the scriptures, which cannot be explained through logic. What should we do at that time? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, these questions that come to us, they are like the snake bites. When a snake bites, what happens? It's very painful, right? It injects that poison into us. What should we do at that time when we get such questions? He says you have to tolerate them, right? And continue with your devotional service. In spite of getting questions like this, tolerate those questions, having faith in, that means you're not getting answers. When I'm saying tolerate, because you're not getting answers, right? When you don't get answers, then you cannot stay at peace. You have a problem that you're not able to solve. You'll be all mental. You need to solve that problem, isn't it? Some problem is there and you're not able to find that solution. So like that, there will be some questions which cannot be explained through logic. They cannot be explained through logic. Then what is the final authority? Shastra itself is the authority. So somehow or other we have to come to this state where, because it is said in the Shastra, this must be true and I will stand by Shastra's side. Even though I am not able to explain to myself how this is logically possible, the only explanation is because it is said in the Veda is the ultimate authority, this is truth. Just like that cow dung example, right? Through logic, I may not be able to explain. Of course, then when you actually do experiment, you will see it's true, right? It's actually true. Cow dung is actually antiseptic. It's not, but if you eat cow dung, it cures diseases. Now, if you eat dog stool, it will give you bad diseases. So there's a great difference there. So if somebody does not believe the statement of the Vedas directly because it doesn't make sense, both are animals, you're saying one is pure and one is impure, then what should I do? If I don't have faith, then experiment and see. You eat this and eat that and see what happens, the result. And you'll find out, yes, cow dung is actually. So that experiment one can do. But our endeavor should be to tolerate those questions which cannot, because they will be answered. It's not like they won't be answered at all. In due course of time, it will make sense. Due course of time means if you continue rendering devotional service, having faith, and important thing is you have to tolerate, you have to bear that pain of that snake bite. Snake bites are what? These questions, like kutarka, kutarka kuyukti, like your arguments and your logic and kumati, right? Kumati. So these things which are against scriptural injunctions, when they come up, you have to just tolerate them, bear that pain, and continue devotional service. Who is saying this? This is also Shastra telling us. So for us, the only authority is Shastra. How to maneuver on this path of bhakti, that information is also coming from Shastra only. And if we are able to tolerate, then we'll actually progress in bhakti, right? So here in this also it is said that originally Arjun had his own opinion, right? No, for this reason, for that reason, I'm not going to fight. But he was not happy. He was not happy. Although he came to this decision, I won't fight, still that didn't solve his problem. He was still unhappy. Even though he decided he won't fight, he was still unhappy. It's not that, okay, now I'm not going to fight, so I'm happy. He was not, because he's a Kshatriya. So then when he heard the entire Bhagavad Gita from Krishna, and then when he finally decided, Karishye Vachanam Tava, I will do as you tell me, according to your word, then he was satisfied, peaceful. Because now he was not going by his own mind, rather he was going by Krishna's words, or Krishna's words are Shastra. By Shastra he was going. So then he is in his proper position, constitutional position. Prabhupada says that in the purport also, we just read in the 18th chapter. Coming to this situation, to the conclusion that I will do whatever the Lord tells me to do. That's all I have to do. Whatever He asks me to do, I will do. That is constitutional position, natural position of the living entity, where he is peaceful, happy. Now, Leela Amrita, I'll read a little bit. When there are philosophical points, they have to be discussed, and it takes time what to do. I thought I'll just read one paragraph and end, but okay. So Srila Prabhupada was in Dr. Mishra's studio, right? So at Anand Ashram, Prabhupada would usually hold kirtan with Dr. Mishra's students, joining him in the chanting and even in dancing. Dr. Mishra was particularly fond of Prabhupada's chanting. Ramamurthy Mishra. I have never seen or met any devotee who sang so much, and his kirtan was just ambrosial. If you pay attention and become relaxed, that voice was very electrical vibrations. That voice has very electrical vibrations on your heart. You cannot avoid it. 99% of the students, whether they liked it or not, got up and danced and chanted, and I felt very blessed to meet such a great soul. That was Dr. Mishra saying. Harvey Cohen, a visitor to Anand Ashram. Everyone got up early and went to morning meditation. Dr. Mishra was dressed in a golden Indian style jacket. and his students were already deeply into it when I entered the room. All the cushions were taken, so I picked a spot in the back of the room where I could lean against the wall to facilitate my meditation. Seated on one side was an older Indian man in saffron cloth and wrapped in a pinkish wool black blanket. He seemed to be muttering to himself, and I later discovered that he was praying. It was Swami Bhaktivedanta. His forehead was painted with a white V-shaped sign, Tilak, and his eyes were half shut. He seemed very serene. Harvey tried, but he couldn't do the Raja Yoga. He was new to Anand Ashram and had only come up for a weekend retreat. During his morning meditation, he found himself more attracted to the green mists above the lake outside the window than to the circle on the wall he was supposed to be meditating on. Okay, so Dr. Mishra had his studio, but he also had this Ananda ashram. So it was away from city, I think like 1 hour or something we read. So he would invite Prabhupada also to come there. It was like a retreat. So that's what we are talking about here. So they went there, and this one particular person, Harvey, is saying it was easier for him to look out at the mist than to meditate on the circular ring on the wall. Harvey, I went to my room. The rain was increasing and beating against the windows. I was peaceful and I was glad to be alone. I read for a while. Suddenly, I sensed someone standing in the doorway. Looking up, I saw it was the Swami. He was wrapped in his pink blanket like a shawl. Can I come in? He asked. I nodded yes, and he asked if he could sit in the chair in the corner. What are you reading? He smiled. Kafka's Diaries, I replied, feeling a little embarrassed. Huh? He said, and I put the book down. He asked what I was doing at the ashram and if I was interested in yoga. What kind of yoga are you studying? I don't know much about it, I answered, but I think I'd like to study Hatha Yoga. This didn't impress him. There are better things than this, he explained. There are higher, more direct forms of yoga. Bhakti Yoga is the highest. It is the science of devotion to God. As he spoke, I got the overpowering realization that he was right. He was speaking the truth. A creepy, ecstatic sensation came over me that this man was my teacher. His words were so simple, and I kept looking at him all weekend. He would sit so calm and dignified with warmth, and he asked me to visit him when he got back to the city. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We'll continue tomorrow. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for staying longer. All of you have a wonderful day in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna Mataji.
Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.